Political analyst Javed Rana is joining us now from the Pakistani capital. Javed, welcome to the program. Javed, let's start with what's been happening over the past few days, right? We're talking about, the risks that this conflict could bring to this entire region. So, what are the lessons, Javed, that we can learn, looking at the situation in the occupied Gaza Strip and now what's going on in Iran? How are you looking at this situation? What's your analysis?
I think if you look at the bigger picture, then everything boils down to one man, and that is Benjamin Netanyahu, the extremist, fascist prime minister of apartheid Israel, because he's a warmongering, and right from last five decades, he has been pursuing the same agenda. He is basically trying to make it sure that there is zero support for the Palestinian, and Iran was the only potential supporter of Palestinians in terms of supplies of the weapons, in terms of political and diplomatic support, the kind of the support that no other Muslim country has provided to the Palestinian. That is the core reason. Now, what we are seeing now, the bigger picture is it's no longer an agenda of dismantling Iran's nuclear program. It seems it has gone far beyond it. Netanyahu has been saying that there is a possibility of a regime change operation in Tehran as a consequence of the military action of Israel. But as a matter of fact, it looks like that it is a regime change operation. I say it because now Israel is directly threatening the people in Tehran that they will have to face the consequences of supporting the government. It doesn't make sense. Now they are threatening people in Tehran and elsewhere in Iran that they will be facing the consequences for not revolting against the government. That is what they said in Lebanon. That is what they said in Gaza. They try to create conditions to force people to revolt against Hamas. This is a complete nonsense. Netanyahu looks like doesn't understand the trajectory of power in Iran. Now, Iran is a far big country, and so far as apartheid Israel is concerned, it may not make even the 5% of the territory that Iran has. It has a strategic depth. It has tens of thousands of the missiles, which have been hidden in the mountainous regions. Iran has the capacity to survive and thrive. Netanyahu is not understanding this. We have seen the scale of the Iranians' retaliation in apartheid Israel. At least 1 million people are now seeking shelter, but they are seeking a very graceful, honorable shelter. They are going into the tunnels, the train tunnels, and other shelters which the government of Israel is providing them. Unlike the Palestinians, who don't have even any shelter. Perhaps it is the tip of the iceberg of the pain that Israeli might be understanding that the Palestinians have been going through for last 2 years. So I think in a broader context, the military operation that Israel has launched inside Iran, obviously it is damaging Iran's nuclear. It has damaged Iran's nuclear installations, but it has not dismantled Iran's nuclear program. Going by what John Bolton, the former national security advisor to the President Donald Trump, he is saying that there is a possibility that Iran might have its parallel nuclear program in North Korea. It may or may not be the case, but Iran certainly would have some kind of a camouflage its nuclear program. So what Israel's military action has done, it might have delayed Iran's ability to manufacture nuclear warheads for next couple of years. But so far, it has not been able to dismantle the very ability of Iran to make a nuclear bomb in years to come, because nuclear programs or all these sites have been damaged, but it has not been dismantled.
Javed, just yesterday there were talks scheduled between Iran and the United States for nuclear negotiations. But ever since the attacks started between Iran and Israel, those talks, we should not even think about those talks happening now because Iran has said that there's no point in continuing those nuclear negotiations. So considering that these talks are no longer going to take place, what impact would this have on the conflict that we're seeing right now?
I think to begin with, it will stay non-starters for days and weeks to come. If Americans think that they can bully Iran, I don't think in given situation it is going to happen because Iran has already been attacked. Its nuclear sites have been attacked. So Iran, whatever the losses Iran could have faced, it has already suffered. So for Iran, there is no point of resuming these talks. And now the possibility is that I think in days and weeks to come, if this war continues, the possibility is that there would be more and more public resentment inside apartheid Israel because people in Israel, they are not used to kind of the retaliation they are facing. They had faced unfrequented attacks from Houthis, from Hezbollah in the past, but the scale of which was very tiny and limited as compared to the scale of the retaliation that we are witnessing right now by Iran. So in that context, I think Iran, it looks like, is trying to create a kind of a parity in the conventional battlefield. And if Iran continues with this scale of attacks, I think it is going to compel Israel to bring an end to its aggression on Iran. So I think that will bring an end to this war. And after that war, I think Iran would be in a better position to dictate its terms. Those terms could be that Iran could possibly would come out from NPT, the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty. And I think, again, we have to see the bigger picture. Israel has not been able so far to dismantle Iran's nuclear program, the point that I made on earlier. Therefore, I think Iran in this situation would possibly look for kind of a scenario where it could manufacture nuclear warheads. It may not say publicly, but it will do it. But again, it will show more resistance and resilience in its diplomatic policy. Now, the problem with apartheid Israel is that if the Americans don't intervene, which Americans don't intend to intervene, and Iran does not intend to attack on the US, that is what my understanding is. So therefore, Israel will have to go for a regime change operation because Iran will become more hostile towards Israel. And I don't think Israel has the capability and capacity in this situation on its own to go for a regime change operation. These are hundreds of thousands of Iranian Revolutionary Guards. They have their ideological structure inside the country. There is no physical presence of any opposition party inside Iran. There is only one entity known as National Resistance Council, which is outside Iran, because Iranian regime over the period of time made it sure that there should not be any opposition inside Iran, and that backfired to the extent that Israel managed to create an espionage network by getting within the ranks and the files of the Iranian regime. And that is why Iran suffered heavy losses right in the beginning. So in a broader context, I don't foresee any possibility of a regime change operation getting any success in Iran. This is the most unlikely scenario in this given situation. If these Iranian retaliation continues in days and weeks to come, I think Israel would be compelled to end this war.
Javed, let's talk about the Iran conflict again. Hossein Salami, who was the IRGC commander, he was killed by Israel. In 2020, in Baghdad, Qasem Soleimani was killed in an American airstrike. And now, over a dozen nuclear scientists have been killed by Israel in Iran. So do you think that there are serious security lapses within the Iranian security arrangement?
I think within the top levels, there are serious security lapses. I think some of the senior officials within the Revolutionary Guards, probably they were compromised. Otherwise, this specific information about the location of the top generals could not have been passed down. I think this is the core reason because of which Iran suffered heavy losses. But the good thing about it is that they have now managed the situation, and I think Iran is managing now. But again, the bigger problem Iran is facing, that it has to somehow or the other create a good optics among its population, that the regime is also serving them on economic grounds. Though there are hard geostrategic realities because of which Iran has not been able to deliver people on economic grounds, but in a broader context, this is a very hard reality that Iranian officials, they've been compromised, because of which intelligence have been leaked over the period of time. Ismail Haniyeh, the head of the Hamas, was also assassinated in Tehran. And there were many other similar assassinations which may not be necessarily have come through direct missiles attack, but also from within Iran. Israel managed to have higher guns. They assassinated Iranian scientists in the past. And then I think Azerbaijan's territory was also used to penetrate inside Iran. And many of the top Iranian officials who were involved in manufacturing of probably the potentially nuclear bomb, or they were involved in enrichment, particularly those of the scientists, they were eliminated. And I think that is where Iran is lacking. Its intelligence network has not been able to catch the spies within its own system, and that is costing Iran hugely. But in a broader picture, I think Iran has now managed to come back to the battlefield the way it has been hitting hard in Haifa ports and in Tel Aviv. I think that shows that Iran can sustain this war for over a longer period of time. And it will not be easy for Prime Minister Netanyahu to dismantle Iranian government. I think it is a deeply entrenched within the structure of Iran. Though there is a resentment, and resentment is mostly from the upper class, the elite, who are largely settled outside Iran. They don't have the footings on the ground. So no matter how much damage Israel causes to Iran in this war, Iranian regime change
is unlikely to happen.
The growing tide of anti-Israel sentiments. What you see behind me is just tip of the iceberg of what is happening in the country. More than half of $52 billion black CIA budget is spent on espionage network in Pakistan. How would you handle it?
The US has looked upon Pakistan as an ally at one point and then as an enemy at the same time.
That is going to be the first legal reason on the basis of which he is going to be instantly ousted by the Supreme Court of Pakistan.
Joining us live, Javed Rana, who's an expert on politics and geostrategic issues.
In the world politics, which is not being driven by any moral principle, it is being driven by the hard geostrategic realities. In a broader picture, more countries would aspire to have nuclear weapons.